some other good news. I'm trying to get, I want, if I can find good news or a positive story or something that I like versus something that I don't like. Positivity is something that I'd like to have more of in my life. And there's so easy with what's going on in reality to just get flooded and buried and overwhelmed with all the negative shit. So anytime I could find something like, oh, that's cool, I want to try and share it. Because it's so easy for me to just, and it's all the same stuff that I'm angry at. So I need to expand my opinions on current events. And this one's interesting. This one from Vice News. Democratic U.S. Senate candidate from Louisiana is smoking a blunt in a new campaign ad calling out racial disparities in weed arrests. Gary Chambers Jr., a Baton Rouge-based Democratic candidate and self-described social justice advocate, released the ad, tweeting that he hoped it would destigmatize weed use and force a quote-unquote new conversation that creates the pathway to legalize this beneficial drug. This thing goes on for very long. I didn't even watch the ad. But just the existence of the ad, I applaud. I don't live in Louisiana. Political ads in general, like, I'm glad it's something new. Clearly, I mean, the other side of the political spectrum, the Republican side of the political spectrum, it's very clear the things that they want to promote in their campaign videos. They're all working off the exact same template of like show guns, Second Amendment. Like that seems to be like their platform. Maybe God too. God is always the afterthought though. But so anything other than that, I love. And of course, you're going to get a variety of that from the Democrats. I mean, we kind of all want similar things. So then there's a lot of things to choose from. There's a lot. It's like we live in a place where, like, if you consider, if you're on like the left-leaning side versus the right, from my perspective of things, and you look at reality, like there's a shitload of ways in which our country could improve. Like, as far as making lists go, you could fill a lot of pages with all of the ways in which America could get better on everything. Now, if you look at the opposite side of that, there's only, like, how farther down can we go when the only thing in that direction, when the only thing that they use to, like, sell themselves are, like, weapons, and then the thing that's should be opposed on all levels is religion. Like, all religions are, I mean, God, and one of the few things God actually wrote, if you believe in it, the 10 Commandments. He didn't write the Bill of Rights. He didn't write the Constitution, despite a lot of trolls want to tell me that God wrote those things. He didn't write those things. He didn't write the Bible. As far as I know, through my research, is that he wrote the 10 Commandments, right? And, like, one of those is not to kill people. So to purchase a tool to be, like, the number one thing above God for most of them is guns, Second Amendment, kind of hand in hand, artillery. The specific use of that tool, the gun, the artillery, is to kill people. And the one thing that I know of that God actually wrote down, one of those things, is to not do that. But then the biggest tool is to like, it'd be like if God said, "Thou shalt not make furniture out of wood," and then you go and buy a bunch of, like, sandpaper and saws and shit. It's like, well, what are you gonna do with the wood? It looks like you're gonna mold it into something. You don't have a couch. What are you doing, John? So anytime I get to see something new and creative and brave, a politician smoking a blunt in a political ad, will it work? I don't know. I've never been to Louisiana. I'd consider voting for him for sure. I mean, I definitely want to see who else is doing the thing. But you're going to have people that are completely ignorant about weed that consider what he did to be the same as like smoking meth in a political ad. Like that's the delusion that's like the reality that some people are living in. That they think weed, like the most unhealthy part of what he did is that he smoked a blunt, which means that it's a tobacco leaf. I mean, tobacco, cancerous, but weed, 0 recorded deaths in human history. The entire existence of humankind, of mankind, of womankind, of peoplekind. Not one recorded death by weed. So the most unhealthy part of that is the fact that he's a blunt and not just like a joint or just hitting it out of a pipe. But culturally, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're not going to be... Like, as far as, like, sophistication, smoking a blunt is far more sophisticated because it looks like a cigar versus a bong. Like, the bong is on, or a dab. You got a blowtorch and then a crazy-looking bomb, like a chemistry set thing. That's not relatable on any level. Like, aesthetically, nobody's voting for a guy smoking out of a science experiment, despite how deliciously good the dabs are. You're not going to get elected. So for an aesthetic, he's wearing a suit. He wants to be a politician. I get it. You want to smoke a blunt. It looks good. Maybe a King Palm. It looks like different. It's not tobacco, but culturally, blunts and black dudes go together like, white women and complaining. Just being privileged, being entitled. So yeah, didn't watch it, but I love it. I love it. I mean, culturally, it's so... I mean, I've only lived in California and Denver. Or Colorado. And it's recreationally, legally in both. I've only ever purchased weed legally. I started smoking when I was 30 when I got a weed card. I was nervous when I went to the doctor to get my weed card because I thought it was a real examination. And it wasn't. I mean, it was probably the most thorough. I think she checked, had a stethoscope. I don't know. So I've only done the legal shit. And in a lot of places, it is super illegal. So, it's, for me, this should be, I mean, it'd be like somebody sipping on a beer. Which I would take both of those things over a politician shooting guns. Owning a tool that goes against one of the only things their God has ever wrote down on something. But anyway, good on him, Gary Chambers Jr. Good luck. I hope you get it. Fuck yeah, why not? After 4 years of going in the crazy direction of conservatism with Trump, just going on that extreme of where they want to take everything, I'm good for some extreme, there's very little excitement on the Democratic side. It's very wet blankety. There's a handful of people in Congress and stuff that are progressive and want to actually do some cool shit. And this guy who wants to do some cool really put an interesting face to a movement. You know, fucking need more of that. We need more like way more crazy. There's like the craziness is how like conservative most Democrats are in politics. That's what's crazy. That's like not the kind of crazy I want. We need more crazy in the. There needs to be like there needs to be characters on the left that I would be like, well, that's a little bit too much. Nobody is even close to like, oh, that's a little bit too much. There's no craziness. Like free healthcare? Fuck yes. Free college for kids? Yeah, fuck yes. Like, we spend so much money on killing people in this country. It is insane. It is insane how much death we pay for.